What is up, Money Tribe? Mike Damazo here to help you make sense of dollars. How You Money is a series of interviews with people in the personal finance space exploring their financial journey to share to you. So with this one, we have a chat with Kat. Tap that thumbs up and let's send it. So for the first question, what made you start in your financial journey?
So I moved to the UK in 2017, so 3 years ago. Then I started out as a self-employed teacher, so I teach Pilates and German. And basically I started with one client in September of that year, and then it built up slowly, and I had a goal in mind of how much I wanted to earn to be able to pay for everything that I needed. And then by February of the next year, I had sort of earned a bit on that goal, and I thought, well, what am I going to do now with that money? And then I Googled it and I researched what am I going to do, and slowly sort of I found the different links and websites, and I started with just a cash account, and then I got into investing, and I had a goal of 10% of my earnings, and then I got more into it, and I increased it, and I decreased some of my expenses, and yeah, that's how I started.
Now, would you mentioning like you did research of like your first start was like increasing your 10% and everything, what would you say after all the things you've learned, what is your number one money hack?
So I like to just choose my hobbies, sort of frugal hobbies anyway. Like, for example, usually they're very outdoorsy, like hiking or biking, and they're also related to exercise. But I think that's very helpful because, for example, if your hobby is shopping, then by default, every time you go and do your hobby, you're going to spend a lot of money.
Yes.
Where if your hobby is hiking, you might go a whole day and spend £10. So I think for me, just the way you spend your free time, and personally, it's also more rewarding to produce something or exercise.
Yeah, I love the example of hiking because not only are you saving money, you're also like being healthy. You're living a more healthy lifestyle.
You're saving money, you're spending time outdoors. It's really one of those things. Also, I just got an e-bike,
Nice.
so how I commute now. And it's the same thing. You spend less over the years because you're not using public transport, but you're also exercising. You're also spending at least 1-2 hours a day outside in the fresh air. So it's just all these things that are beneficial, but also they don't cost anything.
Nice. Now, I noticed that you wrote that you're a fire enthusiast. Fire, for those that don't know, financial independence, retire early. Who would you say are some of your influences or inspirations in that personal finance space that talks about money?
So before, when I mentioned the 10%, that came from, the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. So that's the first one really that I read, and then that sort of stuck with me. But as I got more into it, then Mr. Money Mustache was the big one that I just went through all the articles. I read everything. I downloaded the app. And then once I had researched all that, I needed something more UK focused because I was going to be doing everything in the UK, investing and saving and all that. So I stumbled upon Monevator, and that's a great resource because, for example, they compare all the brokers in the UK, and then depending on your situation, you can choose the one that's going to work out the cheapest for you. So they were really helpful just for all the UK specific things.
I love that. I tend to forget like things are very, like with fire, it's local to where you're at and everything.
So I think Mr. Money Mustache is great for global, sort of the pulse, the idea, the mindset, but then you do need something that's specific to your area because you need to know what funds are available, what brokers are good, who's going to provide the best value for money, and that's where Monevator, I think, for me came in. And then now once you're on the journey, you also sort of need to stay motivated. And also, with, for example, the market crash and all that, it's a bit dangerous because even people in the FIRE community, sometimes I heard, oh, I just sold everything. And, where people get scared and then they make a decision that might end up costing them later on. Yes. So for me, there's a blogger called Banker on Fire, and he posts very insightful articles, and I think they helped me I wasn't sort of thinking of selling, but I was a bit nervous when things dropped 10, 20 more percent. And then he just wrote these articles about, oh, this is normal and it happens. And because he's a banker, he also has some authority, and that really, I think, helped.
I wanted to move on to my next question with, being good with money and being able to save. I wanted to ask, name one thing you choose to spend extravagantly on. Housing. Okay.
Yeah. So by far my biggest expense is renting in London. So obviously that is very expensive. And I'm currently in a studio apartment, and you can hear it's a little bit noisy, but it's my own place and it's big enough that everything fits and I can work from home, and I've got my separate kitchen and my, little hallway. So for me, it's important to have that space where I can come home to and I feel like this is home.
That's your place. That's your sanctuary. What is the best advice you ever received?
Just really the basics, the most simple things. Invest in index funds, don't spend more than you earn. People sometimes, before I started being interested in learning myself about these things, I used to hear things like people would say, oh, never invest in a fund, always pick your own stock. So they would say, yeah, options trading, that's what I do. And they would just say all these things and I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah. About it. And so just knowing the basics, I think, of course you can go and do an option trade, or you can go and buy some of your own stocks, but just knowing that your core portfolio is most likely better off as index funds, I think that's so helpful.
I wanted to ask, with your blog, Chat with Kat, what is your most favorite piece of content you've created?
The one that really sort of got me a bit noticed and out there is I wrote a post about my own journey so far. So at that point, I just reached 20% of my target fund, and it's called a little series, The Long Road to Financial Independence. And then I've got my own and 3 other people afterwards just talking a bit about their own journey. And so the one I did, it got featured on the blog, the UK blog Motivator. Awesome. And then 1,000 views from different people. And so that was very exciting. And I think it's a nice sort of introduction to my own journey and how I got there. And
just being able to open up to people to show your perspective and share your story.
Yeah, an introduction of who is behind this blog and who is this person. So
I wanted to ask, who are you most interested in seeing how you money?
So there's one fellow blogger that I really like reading about. She's also in the UK, and her name's Vicky. So she's at Mortgage Free by the Sea.
Oh, I love that name. I love that name.
Yeah, so I'd love to hear and see a little bit more about her, because I read her content, but I've never actually seen her speak. So that'd be interesting.
Awesome. And what are you up to?
So right now, going back to the housing thing, I am looking for a new place a little bit more north in London, because right now I live south, but most of my work is north. It's also a little bit too noisy here to be working from home most days, because right now I do 2 half days pretty much in person and the rest is online. So I need a place where I can just concentrate.
And where can people find you?
So my website is chatwithcat.com, and then you can also find me on Twitter at chatwithcatblog.
Awesome. Thank you so much again, Kat, for your time, and I truly appreciate it for being up so early and being able to do this interview.
Thank you for watching. Definitely check out some of the previous How You Money episodes and sound off below if you have any questions for myself or Kat, and what you thought of How You Money so far. And for next week, we will have another interview with none other than Nikki MGTV. So as always, stay legendary, and I'll see you in the next video.